Hey there, ghouls. It's the Creepmas season, and I know this is a very hectic time of year for all of us, but I'd like to invite you to kick back, relax, pour yourself a hot cocoa, and let me read you a story. Every night from now through December 24th, I will read you a chapter from my new holiday creature feature, Christmas Creeps from the Deep. So tune in and hang out with me at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every night for a new chapter. Let's get to it, shall we? Chapter 11. Joining a two-bit cult is guaranteed to bite you in the butt at least 2 times. I figured you'd wander in here to ruin our plans, again, on account of your big heart and all, Bucky said. Funny, I never figured you for a hero. Guess you can't tell by looking. A pair of giant hands landed on Earl's shoulders, giant Chester hands. They lifted Earl to standing and turned him around all in one move. Bucky had that stupid Kandarian demon Ginso knife combo pointed at Earl's neck. But even more alarming, his face was totally black apart from the yellows of his two bloodshot eyes. Chester's face was all black too. Blackface, Earl said. You two can't be serious. You should know better. Shut up! We didn't do it on purpose. It's soot and smoke. You set my trailer on fire, remember? Bucky said. I lost everything. We barely made it out alive. Funny. I barely made it out of there alive myself, Earl said. But I'm not the one who lit a dolly candle in a trailer full of old porno mags, so you can't blame me. Oh, I do blame you. You owe me, and it's time to pay up. Bucky waved the dagger in Earl's face, and much to Earl's surprise, he wasn't scared. He was angry. Cut the shit, Bucky. Do you hear all that screaming out there? The whole town's in danger. We gotta turn off the lights. Earl reached for the control board, but he didn't get far. Chester wasn't the kind of man you could just shrug off. Oh, we're keeping the lights on. We didn't knock that guy out for nothing, Bucky said. Chester, it's time. Chester picked Earl up and tossed him over his shoulder like he was a sack of flour. Earl kicked, but it didn't matter. Chester had an iron grip. What the hell are you doing? Earl said. Finishing what we started, Bucky said. Chester carried Earl outside and smacked him down on the cement so hard Earl saw stars for a hot second, and when they cleared, the most horrific creature he had ever seen stared down at him. Ah! Oh! It was Bucky's sad papier-mâché creature from the Black Lagoon. It had survived the fire, which was a damn shame. Bucky had strapped the bas relief he'd made out of monster meat sticks to the creature's chest. They sat on a boat trailer in front of a giant black tarp covering God knows what. Chester's cousins, Timmy and Daryl, painted the sidewalk all around Earl with red spray paint. Hey, cut it out. That's vandalism, Earl said. They looked at Earl like he was stupid, and they were right this time. Vandalism wasn't Earl's biggest problem. They were painting a circle around him, and he was lying on a freshly painted tentacle design, just like the one taped to Bucky's old shag carpet. They were going to try to kill him again, and Jethro and Kyle with the sea weren't around to save him. Not this time. Earl said, Will you guys stop already? We need to save the town. It's Christmas. Yeah, and I'm getting the best present ever this year. Power and glory, Bucky said. Boys. Chester punched Earl in the face so hard, Earl saw through time and space for a split second, and when he came to, the 3 big hillbillies were holding him down. Their giant work boots rested on his shoulders and shins. A crying little kid ran by. Bucky grabbed the blinking candy cane light out of his hand, then pushed the kid face first into a snowbank. Bucky, always the humanitarian. The kid's mom plucked him out of the snow and said, You burn in hell, Bucky. You ain't nothing but trash. Then she grabbed her kid and ran. Bucky called after her, I won't be trash for long. You'll see. You'll be bowing down to me by the end of the night. He turned back to Chester and his cousins, Timmy and Daryl. Boys, prepare Earl for the ultimate sacrifice. Chester's cousin Timmy pulled a bunch of light-up blinking Christmas crap, probably stolen off of other little kids, out of a plastic bag and dumped them on Earl's chest. Bucky stepped in front of the papier-mâché creature and pointed the blinking candy cane at the nearest fish man. It lumbered toward him, hissing and clicking and swatting at the irritating light. You're a big boy, ain't you? Come on over here. I got something for you. Earl was the something. Are you crazy? Stop it. Shut up, Earl. I just hope they still eat you, even with all these clothes on. Is that why you made me wear those tiny panties? Because you want to feed me to these things? Earl squeaked. That and we all thought it was funny. Bucky waved his blinking candy cane around like a lure. It worked. The fish zeroed in on Bucky and the blinking pile of holiday novelties that was Earl Frost. More fish followed behind. That's right. Come on over, fellas, Bucky said. Boys, start the chant. The hillbilly cousins kicked into another round of Mogwai, Rally, Wagnag, Flum as the fishmen lumbered toward them. Earl's heart kicked up. You can't reason with these things. We don't even know why they're here or what they want. I disagree. Bucky cleared his throat and started chanting, Creatures of the dark other world, I am Bucky. Your God has chosen me as your fearless leader. Bow down to me, and I will give you this world to do with as you please, as long as you remember I'm in charge. He had to talk extra loud so the fish could hear him over Ding Martin singing Baby It's Cold Outside, piped in via the mayor's new speakers. But it seemed to be working. The fishmen waddled toward Earl, who was blinking like a highway construction barrel. Bucky passed the candy cane to Timmy, stepped closer to Earl, and raised that Kandarian dagger Ginsu knife over Earl's heart. Rage and panic, plenty of panic, bubbled up inside Earl. After everything he'd been through tonight, he wasn't going to die because of a two-faced piece of crap like Bucky. Earl twisted and thrashed, trying to break free, but Chester and his big, dumb, meaty cousins had him pinned down pretty good. They all repeated that same made-up movie chant from back at the trailer. The growing crowd of fish monsters closed in, clicking to each other, tentacles vibrating. They came from all directions, and all eyes, fish and human, were on Bucky. He said, Behold, I offer you this sacrifice to seal the terms of our deal with blood. I am your leader on land. Do my bidding, and we can rule over the earth and the humans forever. We need to help people, not sell them out, Earl screamed. Bucky ignored him. He repeated it all again, chanting extra loud. The things shuffled in closer like they were actually listening. If Earl weren't about to poop himself in terror, he'd have to hand it to Bucky. He really did look like the star of his own low-budget occult horror movie. He was really selling it, and the fishmen seemed to be buying it. Bucky raised his dagger and said, Old gods from the deep, accept this sacrifice, then bow down before me! That gluck was the sound Bucky's throat made when the biggest fishman suddenly shot forward and detached Bucky's head from his neck with one slap. Well, mostly detached. Bucky's head hung on by a skin flap, upside down and backward, staring at Earl, with a shocked expression on his face, mouth still moving. Blood shot straight up out of Bucky's neck, like a water jet at the splash pad on a hot August afternoon. Chester screamed and let go of Earl. So did Timmy and Darryl. The realization that Bucky's two-bit cult was a sham and the angry fish monsters weren't angling to make a deal sunk in fast. Earl had never seen three big men that burly and tough scream so hard or look so scared. Earl sat up. He threw off the light-up toys and kicked them as far away as possible. Chester turned and ran right into a big fish. Literally. Chester speared himself on a set of razor-sharp claws. He was stone still for a moment, with a look of wide-eyed shock on his face and a big angry fishman 2 knuckles deep in his intestines. The fishman raised his other hand and sliced Chester's arms off. The air filled with screams. Little girl screams. Earl scrambled to his feet, trying to figure out where the kids were so he could help them. But there were no little girls. It was Timmy and Darryl. They held onto each other and screamed, and the fishmen descended on them. They were surrounded. They had nowhere to run. They tried, though. Those two hillbillies pinballed between the fishmen, trying to escape. One sliced Timmy's belly wide open, and the poor dude watched all his guts slide out and pile up on his shoes. Darryl screamed, and a fish smacked his head clean off. It flew through the air, then landed between Earl's feet, mouth still open in a now lifeless, silent scream. Earl wanted to scream too, but clapped his hands over his mouth because he had to stay quiet or he'd be next. Darryl looked up at Earl, making hard, dead eye contact, and hot bile licked Earl's tonsils. So gross. They weren't good guys by any means, but Earl wasn't sure any man deserved that. When Timmy and Chester and Darryl's screams fell silent, the fish stopped moving. They looked at the sky and clicked. Click, click, wait. Click, click, wait. This was Earl's chance. He turned to the tent and ran right into a fishman. The thing hissed, grabbed Earl, opened its big razor teeth-lined mouth, and stuffed Earl's head right in. Boom! Clench! Hot liquid blasted Earl's skull. It felt like a high-pressure spray of hot SpaghettiOs. Boom! Clunch! Boom! Clunch! Boom! Clunch! Fishman death squeals filled the air. The fish's mouth fell away from Earl's scalp. When he opened his eyes, he was covered in a fresh head-to-toe coating of fish brains and guts. Granny sat in her wheelchair, flanked by the members of the Misty Pines Thursday Night Knitting Club: Granny Anderson, Granny Pickens, Granny Boyd, and Granny Granger. They had a pile of dead and about to be dead because grannies blew holes in their chests, fishmen lying at their feet. Each granny had a crocheted ammo bag slung across her shoulder. They looked like Granny Rambos. Granbos. Earl said, "What the heck have y'all been doing at Knitting Club?" Granny cocked her gun. "Preparing for this very day. We got a new member. She earned it." The grannies parted. Holly stood behind them, bringing up the rear. She had Sparky trained on a big fish. The creature was chasing Ted, or was it Fred, one of the foam gingerbread men, across the square. The business end of Holly's gun followed it like a sharpshooter. She fired. The fish's head exploded. She cocked Sparky and aimed it at another. This one was chasing one of the Noby brats. Boom. She blew its head right off. In that moment, Holly looked like a plus-size angel, shimmering in the glow of the Christmas lights. Sure, it was mostly the shimmer of fish blood and guts all over her hair and clothes, but still, she was glorious, and she was still alive. Earl crossed himself because it was a miracle, although Earl should have known she could handle herself. Holly dropped 2 more fishmen, casual like it was easy, before she retreated. She backed up, with Sparky still up and ready, scanning the horizon, until she hit Granny's wheelchair. She turned around and saluted the old women. "Proud to serve next to you, ladies." Then she said to Earl, "What are you waiting for, Earl Frost? Turn off those lights. We'll cover you."